talking about the story of God and His covenant people. And then when you get to the new covenant, we get a better covenant than the old one, established on better promises. Well, Job didn't have either of those. Not one time did Job say, what about my covenant with God? Never mentioned any covenant with God. Never mentioned any promises from God. He's just completely walking in faith in the character of God, how God is. See, so you got to remember when you say, well, I'm like Job. Well, you got to remember you've got a covenant that Job didn't have. You've got promises that Job didn't have. A better covenant established on better promises. And that's of the old. Job didn't have either. And not only that, say you are like Job. Well, look what it says in Job 42:10. At the end of the book. And the Lord restored Job's losses when he prayed for his friends. Indeed, the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. He gave Job twice as much as he had before. So if you're like Job, you ought to get twice as much as you had before. Amen? I say amen? And by the way, if you go read it, you'll find out that those aren't spiritual blessings. It's talking about all of his donkeys and all of his oxen and sons and daughters and everything else. Blessing, 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 blessing. Camels, blessing. Physical, material blessing in his life. See, this is the Bible. Restored double. Double. I remember years ago, most of our time pastoring here, Kimberly has not been paid by the Rock. She's a volunteer just like everybody else. But there was a time she was overseeing one of the largest departments, I think it may have been the largest department of our church, that we put her on the payroll, in that role. But after she was on the payroll for some time, I remember she came to me and she said, you know, the Lord's dealing with me about His goodness.